Our college football experience week 4 reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the promo code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use the promo code CFBX on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app. Use that promo code CFBX for $20 off. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, play Underdog Pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20 times the amount of money you enter in one game. Yes, plus every Sunday they're giving away $100K. Use the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $500, folks. What are you doing? Finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes. Welcome to the college football experience. Week 4 reaction show. We are live. Ballroom being a strong word here. In a
Hampton Inn.
I was about to say a Hilton Garden Inn. Hampton Inn in Laramie, Wyoming. Oh, it's been a lot of fun. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swing It Database Dad, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
I am a Hampton Inn guy, right? Give me that free cookie. Let's go. All right?
Hilton Garden Inn's a little too nice for us.
Yeah, I'm not trying to garden. All right, what's going on here? All right? And we're a little late on the reaction show front, but doesn't mean we're still not going to give you quality content straight from God's country. I think they say that. I don't know. It might be West Virginia. But I am joined by one of my co-hosts. This guy, he was cherry bombed with me. And look, this guy is the DFS god himself. I got to ask him how he did on DFS because I don't think I've had a chance to do that this trip yet. But give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free life giving farmer, earned the basketball league MVP. Give it a Red Sea Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on?
I mean, how are you doing on the DFS front? Because I know I won my fantasy football game. What up, Cody Zeeb?
Right. You took down the previously 3-0 Cody Z.
That's what happens when I still didn't have all my players play. Didn't have all my players play.
Didn't need them.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't need it. But
let's not talk DFS.
Ah, okay. I know what that means.
Let's talk 8-4 my locks.
Woo! Talk about. Hey, I also had a win week, 5-4. All right, did eat shit on a substantial bet or two, but let's open things up with the reason why we're in Wyoming. All right, I know you wanted to see Cheyenne because of all those classic movies, but really we're here for the Wyoming Cowboys. The Appalachian State Wyoming game, I think, might have been the best game of the day. I mean, I know there's the Notre Dame Ohio State argument, which seems like that was we'll get there. But folks, if you did not watch this game, I mean, I had I had Wyoming -2.5 against App State, and I don't know how I pulled this out. This is one that Magic. Someone, shot me a DM saying App State got App Stated by Wyoming, a block kick for touchdown. I mean, the whole game was wacky, but what was your experience overall with Laramie and the crowd and the game in general?
Fantastic. This is small town college football that we love. Shout out to Austin and Mandy for being so hospitable and giving us
Gavin
tickets.
too. Gavin
too. Yeah, Gavin as well. So we had a blast with them. Really nice folks. The game was awesome. The atmosphere was awesome. It was electric. And App State outplayed them for at least 3/4 of that game, if not more. But in the clutch, Wyoming made plays, and they always find a way to win in Laramie, and yesterday was no exception.
Yeah, and to their credit, even when App State was the parts of the game when App State was outplaying them, they were settling for field goals. The only touchdown App State got was on a pick six. So the Wyoming defense was bend but don't break, and then they have the game-winning interception as well as the block kick special teams. I told you this. We were watching the game. I said Craig Bull teams always well-coached special teams. That was the difference. Beamer ball out here in the West.
Let me tell you, it gets a little windy. It gets a little chilly out here in Wyoming.
It does. And I like it. That's football weather, baby. That's the way it's supposed to be.
But coming from North Carolina, I don't know if I was quite ready for it.
True. And I was one of these California sissies too, but I was ready for it.
Yeah, we both might have got hot chocolates in the third quarter.
Yeah. They're like, you want to do some Jaeger bombs? I was like, no, you got any hot chocolate? Stuff like that. But folks, look, we're going to go game by game, but obviously Laramie, I highly recommend it to people. If they can get out to a game in Laramie, it's awesome. That Stadium War Memorial, the War they call it, I think one of the best stadiums in college football. So check it out. But look, we're gonna go through all the games. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Yes, we're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the college football and NFL action with great offers every single day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. So what are you doing, folks? Throw $5 down on any of this week's epic matchups and walk away an instant winner, all right? And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. So, I mean, look, I can tell you, what are we doing today, NFL? Do we got an NFL one you like? Let me go. Let me quickly help out. I'm gonna say for the NFL, let's lay the 7.5 with the Baltimore Ravens at home. I know it's chalky, even though my boy Gardner Minshew's playing and not AR-15. Although you got to watch, the NFL might suspend you for saying that. But yeah, I like that play. Look, football is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now. Sign up with the promo code SGP. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the National Football League. Once again, with the promo code SGP. The crown is yours, people. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for detail and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Yes, buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be that stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater that is near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you'll be having at that very event. And forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, and theater, and more. And they have the Game Time guarantee, which is fantastic. It means you'll always get the best price. In fact, if you find tickets in the same section in a row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use that promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account, redeem that code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. We are back on the college football experience week 4 reaction show. And we're going to start with, I'm going to go right into Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Georgia State takes down Coastal Carolina 30-17. I've been very, very wrong on Georgia State this year. I thought Sean Elliott, this might be the demise of Sean Elliott. No, he is undefeated, and that's another one, the Sun Belt. So if you're looking for that group of 5 darling, unfortunately, 2 schools that we really thought could have been those darlings, or maybe 3 schools. But Tulane, Michael Pratt's out in the biggest game, right? He misses that game.
He's back now, but you're talking about the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, and also you could make a case. Andrew Peasley missed the Texas game for Wyoming. There was another one too that who was the third team I was thinking of?
Ohio.
Yeah, Curtis Rourke missed the San Diego State game.
Played what, 1 drive or 2 drives, and looked really good in that very limited action before he went out with the injury.
So all 3 of those teams might have had a shot at running the table had they not had their star quarterback out. But you still have Fresno State, who's beaten 2 Power Fives on the road. You still have Marshall, which we'll get to. You still have James Madison. And then you still have Georgia State. Impressive 13-point win in Conway, South Carolina. We were on this money line, but I'm curious where you think the Panthers are. Do you think they're the best team in the Sun Belt?
Well, 3 of those teams you just mentioned are not only Sun Belt, but Sun Belt East. They're really playing good because Darren Granger is playing the best football of his life, the quarterback. He's always, flash potential, but I think he's just playing with a more consistent on a game-by-game approach. And right now, I mean, you'd probably say he's playing the best out of any quarterback in the whole Sun Belt. So I do think the Sun Belt East is too difficult for anybody to run the table. But Georgia State and that offense is just putting up points. They dominated Coastal in Conway pretty much the whole game.
Yeah. And it was huge.
And I think, we were all on it also. So,
yeah, definitely.
Pat ourselves on the back here.
Exactly. And, just a big-time win.
Bear with us. It's we are at Hampton Inn in Laramie.
I don't know what's going on, but look, we're recording. We could still do this without the YouTube angle here, as it seems like we might have lost internet. But anyway, let's move along to Wisconsin, Purdue. Wisconsin 38, Purdue 17. I did not see this one coming as just a big time win by the Wisconsin Badgers, who I thought were quite terrible leading up to it. So Purdue, I don't know how that makes me wonder even more about Virginia Tech, because that was Purdue's lone win in Blacksburg.
I don't think there's any more wondering about Virginia Tech. They're a bad football team.
Yeah. And Wisconsin, what do you think? Wisconsin's like they host Ohio State in a couple weeks. Do you think they're actually for real? Do you think that's just going to be just destruction?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think Purdue's looked that very good either this year. This is the best Wisconsin has looked. And whenever you go up into Camp Randall, there's always a chance for an upset. Not like Ohio State looked great. I mean, granted, they were playing a very good Notre Dame team, but also like against Indiana, they didn't look that great. So I'd say there's an outside chance for an upset, but I think you got to favor the Buckeyes by double digits.
Yeah, I would say too. So Wisconsin gets the win. We were wrong on that. I ate a big old bag of shit on that one. NC State 24, Virginia 21. We did not hit on this, but man, for our win total on NC State over 6.5, we're surviving in advance. What are they now? 3-1,
and for the under on UVA.
Yeah, 3-1, and Virginia. I would say their next 2 weeks they have BC and William and Mary. They must win both of those if they want to even be able to sniff, because they got to hit 4 wins, right? It was 3.5.
It was 3.5. I feel like they're playing a little bit better than I expected. I think the defense is chippy, and I like Calandria. He's a true freshman. He's gonna throw some interceptions like we saw in the Maryland game, but the guy has a little bit of swag to him, and he's going to take shots down the field, and he can make some players miss with his legs too. So UVA maybe a little bit better than we thought, but that's not saying much because we thought they were going to be possibly the worst team in the Power 5.
Yeah. And meanwhile, NC State, I still think we're going to be able to hit our over, but obviously it's looking a little that now NC State is going to play Louisville this Friday.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that game?
Not too good.
It's in Raleigh.
Right. That will certainly help. But Louisville coming off that big Boston College win, which I'm sure we'll get to, they look better than NC State right now. NC State really hasn't looked good in any game this year. I mean, starting with UConn, okay, yeah. They struggled to put them away. They got beat in the second half after the rain break against Notre Dame big time. And then just to barely pull away in Charlottesville against UVA. They don't look right. the offense isn't clicking as quickly as we thought it would under an eye.
Yeah.
So I think you have to have big question marks with NC State right now.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move along to the next one. So, look, I mentioned Fresno State as that. I think everyone's thinking that's the team that can crash and get that group of 5 berth, 2 road wins at P5s. But also, we mentioned JMU, Marshall, and Georgia State. There is another school out there no one's talking about. That is, well, first off, Liberty, also undefeated, but also the Air Force Falcons as they go to San Jose. They were losing at halftime. They shut out San Jose State in the second half and ended up winning by 25 points. John Lee Eldridge with an unbelievable run in this game. I mean, who's the best team in the Mountain West?
I still say Fresno right now, but Air Force might have something
Wyoming
to say about
might be in there too, man.
Sure, yeah. This is
Yeah.
the 9th straight win by Air Force, all by double digits. They seem to be getting no love from anybody, including yourself, even though you used to be a big Air Force guy.
Yeah, well, Calhoun, he duped me. He duped me.
That was coach talk, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, he's not getting a Christmas card from Dundee.
Well, this was the game on Friday night that I got right. It wasn't a very good Friday for me, but I was on Air Force here, so at least I was able to. What, they're laying 3.5 or so?
Yeah, and they went by 25. They were down
Actually,
at half.
That might have closed like at 5 or 6. I think it opened around 3.5. It might have closed up a little bit more, but Air Force took care of business in the second half.
Either way, they got that dub, and then you have Boise took care of business at the snapper, didn't cover. I was shocked by this one. San Diego State fought hard, resiliently, and almost won the game. Boise wins, though. Boise heads to Memphis this upcoming week. I don't know about Boise, man.
They're certainly not as good as I expected this year either, and it starts with the quarterback. Talon Green is, his throwing hasn't come along as much as I thought it would be year 2.
Yeah.
He still has wheels. But as far as, the passing attack is struggling right now, and it's going to be a very, tough road test at Memphis.
Yeah, 100%. And they got the win, though. So, I mean, they now hold a winning percentage against every single team in the Mountain West. So, shout out to Boise because they were 500 against San Diego State. No longer the case as they get that done. All right, let's move over to Saturday's action because Army was up. The Army was like shutting out Syracuse, I feel like, for almost the entire first half. And then Syracuse made the adjustments. Rocky Long and the Orange Men figure this thing out. Dino Babers and them, look, they're rolling. They're undefeated. They'll be hosting the Clemson Tigers in that filthy Carrier Dome. But what a nice come from behind win. I think they limited Army to 6 points in the second half. Defensive adjustments. I mean, a Syracuse
guy.
Everyone's talking, ACC schools like North Carolina and Duke. I mean, I get it. Syracuse's resume is not amazing, but they keep winning by double digits, right?
Well, Syracuse's best win was probably last week against Purdue, and
at Purdue, yeah.
Yeah, and I think every week Purdue is showing themselves to be not a very good football team. We thought they were better because they went into Lane and beat Virginia Tech, but Virginia Tech is now showing their true colors.
Yeah.
So, but no, for Syracuse to start off like this, it's a great start, and I think at home, they've played Syracuse close in the past, especially in the Carrier Dome or whatever they want to call it now. So it'll be an interesting game to see if they can get it done against Clemson. Yeah,
I'm loving it. I'm loving the cues there. Tulsa beats Northern Illinois. I was pretty shocked with that outcome. I thought NIU would win. I mean, not super shocked because NIU sucks, but I still thought NIU was the better team. Not the case. Tulsa wins by 8 in DeKalb. Oklahoma, Cincinnati. This is a game that we barely covered. We had 14.5 points. And this was very frustrating. We didn't get to watch all of this game but while we were driving up from Fort Collins to Laramie, we're sitting there and I feel like we're refreshing our phones. Cincinnati has the ball in Oklahoma territory. And I know Patty C texted us like he was disgusted with this game. It felt like Cincinnati lived in Oklahoma territory, but only walked away with 6 points. Whether it was red zone interceptions by Emory Jones, or deflected passes that ended up picked or missed field goals, Cincinnati still covers. But man, I mean, I came away from this, if anything, thinking that I just don't buy into Oklahoma.
Yeah, Jones was just 22 of 41 passing, and he threw 2 picks. And even though they did live in Oklahoma's side of the field, they only have 6 points in the whole game.
Unbelievable.
So, Oklahoma's
credit to Venables. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, true. But Emory Jones, that's why I had question marks about Cincinnati, because I was questioning how good of a quarterback he was. But even though Oklahoma's 4-0, they certainly look ripe for a loss. I'm not sure when maybe that's going to come against Texas.
Yeah. Is Oklahoma? Yeah. Where would you like? I'll ask you at the end. Let's go. Florida State, Clemson. This game was fucking insane. We did get to see this. I mean, I really feel like Florida State was very fortunate to get this win.
For sure.
That delayed linebacker or safety blitz that they did, where I'm just baffled that Klubnik didn't see him. He had like 10 minutes to see him running up. That was the game-changing play. Clemson was about to take a 10-point lead, at least a 10-point lead. Maybe they score a touchdown on that drive. Who knows? And that was in the deep into the fourth, or not deep into the fourth, but like midway through the fourth, I feel like. And, Florida State defensive touchdown. That was their only touchdown in regulation in the second half. Then in overtime, they get it done after Clemson misses a chip shot field goal. Look, 2 weeks in a row, you said, no, I know, obviously winning at Clemson means you're a decent team. But I felt like they should be very fortunate. But at the same time, you look at the remaining schedule, you're like, I kind of think they could be a playoff team. Their toughest road test, we thought Pitt would be a tough game. Pitt looks like a complete fucking dumpster fire.
Wake Forest doesn't look very good either.
Wake Forest doesn't look good. They get Syracuse and Virginia Tech in Tallahassee. They avoid Louisville. They do get Duke in Tallahassee later too. But and then they have a game at the Swamp to end the season. But you got to think at this point, if you had to project the 4-team invitational, I think Florida State's pretty much in the driver's seat.
I'm telling you, that game at Florida, I could see that going bad for Florida State.
Yeah,
it's just the rivalry thing. Obviously, Florida's not going to have a great year. You know what'll make their year? Beating their rival and keeping them out of the playoff, which, Florida State still has to manage the rest of their schedule, which is very manageable, given that the toughest two teams on it, they already have wins against LSU and Clemson. So we could see Florida State really make a push for the playoffs. But I'm telling you now, watch out for the game in the Swamp on November 25th.
Yeah, and also the other side of this coin is Clemson's 2-2. Their only two wins are Charleston Southern, who Western Carolina in the FCS just won by like 70, I feel like, yesterday. And then Florida Atlantic, who's a team with a losing record. They have a tough schedule coming up due to the Clemson Tigers. You got to think with already 2 ACC losses and knowing that Louisville doesn't play them and Duke obviously will have the tiebreaker on them and Florida State having the tiebreaker on them, I think it's very hard to believe that they would be. It's certainly still possible because the ACC is wacky.
But they just haven't looked good enough either.
Yeah.
I mean, even though today they pretty much outplayed a very good Florida State team. So I guess if you're trying to make excuses for Clemson, you could say that they should have won today. But their remaining schedule is much tougher than Florida State's.
Yeah, at Syracuse this week, you got to think like I don't feel very confident that Clemson will be good on the road. At home, they have that crowd, that environment. So I think I would still favor Clemson to get that done. But that seems like a game that could be tricky. And they're home to Wake. They should be able to take care of business there. But at Miami, that's another one. Miami's looking pretty good. They're undefeated.
I feel like nobody's really talking about them this year either, which was kind of bizarre because usually they do. But maybe everybody's expecting Miami to falter like they have in recent years. But I was going to ask you, who do you think, if we're saying Florida State is the best team in the ACC, and they certainly have the best resume at this point, who do you think is the second best?
Well, I think schedule-wise, Louisville. I don't think Louisville's going to play Duke in a couple weeks. I kind of think Duke. It depends. Like Braum, each week I expect him to be getting better and getting more in tune with the system. But Duke has the best wins to me. Like Miami's win against A&M is impressive.
Yeah.
And maybe that's more impressive than Duke's Clemson win. I don't know, but I feel like Northwestern did beat Minnesota yesterday. So Duke has that win against Northwestern. I don't know. I feel like Duke, it's a crowded top because you could say what?
You haven't mentioned UNC yet.
Yeah,
either.
North Carolina. I keep waiting on North Carolina to deal us that lemon.
Yeah.
And then you add in Miami. I mean, yeah, it's a very fun league right now as far as the top. How about you? You this is your league.
I'd love to say Duke, and Duke has a huge game versus Notre Dame coming up at home next week. Granted, that won't affect your ACC schedule.
So if Duke played Carolina right now, who would you take?
I'm taking Duke, man.
I think I would
taking
take Duke too.
Is Terrell Furman in the chat? I thought I saw him earlier. I can't take UNC versus Duke, but
Okay, but if
but
Duke-
I have locked up UNC 2 weeks in a row, and they beat the piss out of Minnesota, and they beat Pitt.
Minnesota win ain't looking great though.
Maybe beating Pitt in Minnesota isn't that big of a deal.
But okay, Duke plays Miami. Who would you take?
So it's kind of hard to ask me this right now because I am very excited for Duke. So I'm going to say Duke, but Miami and that offense looks really good.
You know what?
Dimes looks like he did 2 years ago.
Do you know why I would take Duke? Is because Mike Elko. Yeah. Now Louisville Duke would be interesting because I feel like both coaches get like the maximum of their teams.
I don't put Louisville at that level yet. I think I have Duke, Miami, and UNC ahead of Louisville right now.
So we just saw Florida State struggle with Boston College, and I mean, Louisville could have scored 80 on Boston College yesterday. They
I
called
thought
off
Louisville struggled with Indiana, who should have lost to Akron.
True, but they also did have a 3-touchdown lead in that game,
and only
they never trailed. They never trailed.
They didn't do anything in the second half. 0 points in the second half. Shutout against Indiana.
They never trailed. They never trailed in the game. All right,
it's going to be a very exciting race because a lot of these teams play each other. So the ACC more interesting.
Well, NC State's still undefeated in ACC play.
True.
Their only loss is to Notre Dame. So
yeah,
Wolfpack, wake up.
I think it's the most interesting ACC race in
100%.
Probably since
Florida Syracuse.
Had
you
Jameis
still have
Winston.
Syracuse.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the bottom of the ACC still sucks. UVA, Virginia Tech, BC, but
Yeah. All right, folks. Look, before we get to the next game, I want to tell you that the college football experience Week 4 reaction show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Look, Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite football team all season long. You can win up to 20 times the amount of money you enter in a single game by going 5 for 5. And from now until October 4th, Underdog is matching 100% of the first deposits up to $500. What a deal. And they're also giving away $100,000 every Sunday. Come on. There's a total of $2 million in prizes for all season long on Underdog Fantasy, and also $100K a week. And they're giving out $10K to 10 different people every single week. The new sweepstakes every week of the NFL season. This week's higher lowers Tyreek Hill over 91, over or under 91.5 receiving yards. I lean over because that Dolphins offense still seems to be clicking. But even if you're wrong, you still have a chance to win $10K. So watch along, make picks, and maybe even make a little extra cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Yes, win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data, and stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, we are back on the college football experience. Chat's rolling along. People are talking about South Florida. People are talking about Rice. They want us to start talking Mizzou Tigers. We're going to get there. But first off, Troy beats Western Kentucky 27-24. This game seemed like the Hilltoppers had an early lead, then Troy stormed back, and then it looked like they were going to cover, and the tops came through for you. I know I took Troy.
Yeah, I was getting 3.5, so feel pretty fortunate to get that cover there.
Good win for your Sun Belt over the CUSA. Might be the top team in the CUSA. We locked up this one. Texas A&M minus the points. 8.5, 9 against Auburn. They didn't even have their starting quarterback. Connor Wegman got knocked out, and Max Lawnchair Johnson came in and threw some dimes. Auburn's only touchdown was on a defensive touchdown where Jimbo Fisher was on the field. Pretty hilarious moment. Auburn hosts Georgia this next week. There's no way. I just think this Auburn team, they should have lost to Cal. I think this Auburn team sucks, really.
Yeah, Thorne, Ashford, they don't have the right quarterback to be able to hang with Georgia. It looks like that rebuild is going to take a little bit longer than we thought.
Yeah, and meanwhile, A&M, we're on the over. That was a big win for us. They play that stupid game. It's a great game as far as rivalry, but they play at that Jerry's World this week against Arkansas. That's kind of a 50-50 game to me.
Arkansas looked better than I thought against LSU this weekend, so
Yeah.
perhaps they can make some noise in that game.
Yeah. Kentucky beat the piss out of Vanderbilt. I thought I was going to be able to cover this. Like first quarter, Kentucky was up like 21-0. Then I feel like it was all Vandy in the second quarter and third to like kind of come back and get into covering form. It didn't happen. Kentucky wins. Kentucky's undefeated. Are they who's more fraudulent, Syracuse or Kentucky?
That's a tough question, man. I guess I would say Syracuse, but it's pretty damn close, I think. Because who's Kentucky's best win?
I think Kentucky's best win would be Vanderbilt.
That's not good because Vandy, I'm kind of disappointed in Clark Lee's group. I thought they were going to be better this year. Syracuse has better wins.
Yeah.
Now, and next week, Kentucky hosts Florida, I believe, and Syracuse hosts Clemson. So we're going to find out about both those teams.
Yeah. I think Kentucky, I think Kentucky might be able to beat Florida. But Rutgers covers for me with 26 at Michigan.
I got it at 24.5, so covered for me too, but a lot closer.
Yeah. I think what do you think? Is Michigan's just playing possum a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's like Georgia, right?
I haven't watched Michigan yet because why? Because their opponents have been so bad. So it seems like they're kind of sleepwalking through the easy part of their schedule because their schedule really is only like a 2 or 3 game slate. Unfortunately, why would you not want to watch one of the best teams in college football? Well, it's because the games suck.
Yeah.
So this is college football's fault. It's Michigan's fault. Hopefully they do better in the future.
Yeah, and then Virginia Tech, I think they might have paid Marshall for a 2-for-1 in the one game they had to go to Huntington, West Virginia. Marshall beats them 24-17. I mean, Virginia Tech, let's take a peek at this schedule here because I think the Hokies might be in a little bit of trouble here. I know that win total was 5.5, I think it was.
Yeah.
They're 1-3 now, right? And
one win over ODU.
Yeah, ODU, and that win, ODU barely beat Texas A&M Commerce. They do have Pitt on deck in Blacksburg. I would still favor Pitt, though.
By a field goal.
Yeah. Then they're at Florida State.
That's a loss.
Home to Wake.
Toss up.
No, I still favor
Wake, though. Yeah.
Home to Syracuse.
I got to go favor Syracuse.
At
Lane Stadium isn't what it used to be, I don't think.
Yeah. At Louisville.
Favor Louisville.
At Boston College. That is winnable.
Yeah, for sure.
Then home to NC State.
It's winnable, but NC State's better right now.
And then at UVA. I mean, this could be a really bad season. This could be a really, 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 really bad season for the Hokies.
Right now they're getting gashed by the run. And Rasheen Ali just ran for 174 and 2 touchdowns. The week before that, who did Virginia Tech play?
Rutgers was averaging over 7 yards a rush.
Yeah, so this Virginia Tech team is not like Virginia Tech teams in the past. They struggle offensively, and right now they're getting gashed by the run. So it's not a recipe for winning football games.
Yeah. Marshall plays at NC State in a little bit here. I think they get a Sun Belt game first. Who does Marshall get next? I think they get is it Georgia Southern? No, Old Dominion. They get Old Dominion in Huntington next week. Then they head to Raleigh to take on NC State. That game might be a little bit bigger than people realize.
For sure. They should be 4-0 heading into it, so that should be a great game.
Yeah. SMU really let me down against TCU. TCU, I mean, for the people that are calling out Colorado, that win over TCU looks better and better as TCU's been pretty dominant since then. But SMU, I don't know. Rhett Lashley let me down because I feel like from a talent perspective, they're not that far behind TCU.
What, Peyton Stone? Is that his name?
Preston Stone.
Yeah. There you go. I know he was a top recruit, but so far he's not really playing like it. I mean, he's still young. He's just a sophomore, but they're not putting up points like I thought a Rhett Lashley team could. Agreed.
Western Michigan covered against Toledo. This game was kind of crazy because Toledo needed like a big comeback. They get it done. Georgia Southern handles Ball State. There's another Sun Belt domination against the MAC.
I think when I handicapped that, I said this is a game where the Sun Belt is going to show their superiority over the MAC.
Well, there's another game though where the MAC might say, "Hey, fuck you."
That's a good point.
We'll get there in a second. But Old Dominion 10, Texas A&M Commerce 9.
A&M Commerce. Wow.
If folks don't know, I mean, I host the FCS College Football Experience. We will have an episode dropping on Tuesday, but Commerce just came up to the FCS like in the past 2 years. So that is a very sketchy win for Old Dominion.
I think their quarterback threw a couple picks, got pulled. So who knows what's going on with the Monarchs? Yeah.
Then the Ohio Bobcats. I locked this one up against Bowling Green. Easy money, Ohio. That's just what's fun is if you had to look and this is why it's a shame we don't have a large playoff, because I would love to see, like we talk Fresno. Is Fresno the best group of 5? If Fresno played Ohio tomorrow, I think that's a game. That's a game. I don't know if I think Fresno is definitely winning that game.
One of the most impressive things about Ohio right now is their defense is actually playing really good ball.
Yeah, they gave up 1 touchdown, and I think that was late.
And as they get healthier on offense, then if both sides of the ball are firing on all cylinders, you got a really good team.
Yeah, so shout out to the Bobcats. I think I know Toledo's a solid team. The MAC is up. Yeah. The MAC is very up right now. Miami, Florida beats the hell out of Temple 41-7.
As expected.
Yeah, we laid the points there. Ole Miss was beating Alabama 7-6 at halftime. They had a chance to make it 10-6 at halftime, and they missed the chip shot field goal. They only had 3 points in the second half. Bama rallies. We were on Bama. I still watch that game. Jalen Milroe's interception in the end zone. Yeah. Bama heads to Starkville this next week. Any chance? I feel like Bama on the road is vulnerable every time they play, even though at Mississippi State I'm not high on.
Yeah, no. I didn't catch any of this game. Bama is definitely not the Bama of a couple years ago, but I still think they can take care of business against Mississippi State, who is pretty much an average team right now.
But they still get College. They got to go to College Station. They got to go to Auburn. Well, Auburn looks like shit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they watch them run the table because the rest of the SEC doesn't look that great.
Well, they still have LSU too.
Yeah, but that's in Tuscaloosa. But I still feel like LSU should be favored to win that game. Louisville 56, Boston College 28. This is one that's hilarious because Louisville had 42 at halftime.
And kind of took their foot off the gas there. Classy move by Brom.
Yeah. After 10 minutes in the third quarter, when they had this thing up to 56, they didn't score the rest of the game.
Oh, of course, in the second half against Indiana, they didn't score any points either. So maybe they just have problems in the second half. But no, a very impressive win for Louisville.
And give my guy Jack Plummer some respect. All right. International man of mystery. Jack Plummer. Shout out to Louisville as they have that schedule. I'm telling you, if Louisville wins at NC State, watch out because they can lose the Notre Dame game. Who cares?
Sure.
You know what I mean? I mean, sure, they're going to try to win every game.
They definitely have the easiest of the ACC schedules.
That's the NC State game to me. Look, they have this 3-game stretch right here for Louisville. We in the preseason said will make or break their season, but let me tell you, it doesn't look as bad now. So it's at NC State this Friday. If they win that game, they'll be 5-0. Then they're home to Notre Dame, but they can lose that. That does not matter for the ACC. Then they're at Pitt, which we thought was a tough game.
Yeah. If anything, I think Louisville should be favored in both those road games.
So then after that, they're home to Duke, which obviously Duke could beat them. Home to Virginia Tech, home to Virginia.
Those are wins.
At Miami, which that could be a loss. But at the same time, if they beat NC State and Pitt, you got to like their chances. Their chances.
And so they finish up with Kentucky. But again, Kentucky, Notre Dame,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't affect
I think they're going to beat Kentucky this year, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Brom. Illinois barely gets past Florida Atlantic. The Big Ten West is a fucking joke. I love it for the final season of the Big Ten West. Every team sucks.
I mean, the best team just got blanked 31-0.
Yeah, it had like 72 yards of offense.
Helps you put it into perspective.
72 yards of offense. And I still think they're like kind of hands down the best team.
Yeah.
But the Illini get the win 23-17. Nebraska beats La Tech 28-14. Second win of the Rule era. New Mexico. I needed New Mexico in the Roswell Bowl against UMass just because I took the over on I actually have the over on both these teams, but I thought New Mexico's road was harder in the Mountain West than UMass's as an independent. So I needed New Mexico to win that one. They got it done. I was a little let down by BYU here. I had 9.5 points. I feel like this should have hit. BYU had the lead in the third quarter. Kansas comes back, 38-27 wins for the Jayhawks. And this is where we have the conversation. Kansas plays at Texas next week, but Texas has the Red River Shootout on deck. Is Kansas? What would your Big 12 rankings be? Like if you had to do your top 3 teams or top 4 teams?
Texas, I think, is number 1 for sure.
But who would you put it to?
That's tough.
I would put Kansas over Oklahoma.
So
they have a better resume.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice win by Kansas, but I think there's 2 defensive touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. We didn't get eyes on this entire game, but I thought the opening touchdown was a defensive score. Then they had a pick 6 also.
But that's you're right. But dude, that's huge because last year their defense was terrible last year. That's part of the progress that I want to see from Kansas. Is, the problem was Kansas couldn't play defense last year.
Well, I feel like the offense isn't looking as good though.
Fair.
Fair. So they won the turnover battle 3-0, and 2 of those turnovers they returned for touchdowns. So that's why you win by 11 points. I think after Texas, I think it's wide open. I mean, we were talking about Oklahoma earlier. We think they're a little counterfeit, but they're still 4-0, so they belong in the conversation. If Kansas State gets healthy, I think you chalk up that loss at Missouri as just a bad spot. I think Kansas State is they're probably second best, and maybe Oklahoma third.
Yeah, no, Kansas. I think Kansas' resume is better than Oklahoma's. Oklahoma's SMU and Cincinnati against Illinois and BYU.
Those are both at home though. Who has Kansas beat on the road?
It was Nevada, but yeah,
barely.
Yeah, that's fair, but still, I mean, Oklahoma's only road win with Cincinnati, which is a better win than Nevada. But
going into the NIP.
Yeah, going in the NIP. How about the Maryland Terrapins? They're also undefeated. No one's talking about Maryland. They win 31-9 in East Lansing.
Here's one of my locks. Cashes for me.
I'll play some music for you. I'll play some music. The Terrapins are rolling. No one's talking Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Terrapins just keep dominating shitty teams.
But let's be honest, Michigan State's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. Texas Tech, we ate shit on this one.
Yeah.
This is when watch out for West Virginia, man.
I swear.
Watch out for West Virginia. 20-13, nice win. I got to see W win on the road. Yeah. I know Moneyline Mac was texting us. We're contenders last night. Well, I got to see them win on the road before I truly buy in. But I knew that coming into the season, I thought their team was a little bit better than what people were labeling them. Some people were saying they might be the worst Power 5. Are you kidding me?
Because the line play. They had strong O-lines and D-lines.
And if you look at last year's losses, like the backyard brawl, pick 6, like they were up in that game the whole time. The TCU game, it was a very, very close game. They had a lot of close losses. That's not the same as like some of these other teams that were just getting destroyed.
Right.
A year ago. So
Texas Tech looking very iffy.
Yeah.
A lot of people had really high hopes on Texas Tech this year, and they're sitting at 1-3, if I'm not mistaken.
1-3 with 3 one-score losses.
There've been some tough losses, but still, man.
Yeah. Colorado 6, Oregon 42. I kind of foresaw this one. I know I took my buffs, but that's just standard. I'm never gonna fade them. But yeah, I mean, I thought this game could play out like this. I don't think there's any shame in this loss. This is one of the toughest environments in all of college football.
Right.
Like, I think if Alabama goes and plays at Oregon right now, I don't think Alabama would put up many points.
And you know what I hate is that all the haters are like rejoicing now that Colorado got whipped. I'm no Colorado fan. I don't care, but I'm not a hater either. I don't hate on what Deion's doing. And it was just a very bad spot for them against a very good Oregon team.
Yeah. And
it
look,
happens.
We knew Colorado's depth was an issue. Travis Hunter being injured. Also, I just thought a game at TCU, with all due respect to TCU's crowd, it's not Autzen. Autzen is one of the 10 hardest places to play in America. Like I said, I don't think this is a ridiculous statement by me. I think if Alabama plays at Oregon, I don't think Alabama scores more than 17 points. So,
but now I know we're going to take exception to what Dan Lanning said afterwards.
Yeah. Well, Dan Lanning's comments. Noah, do we have that as a clip? Shout out to Noah behind the scenes doing the Lord's work.
Said no, he doesn't.
Okay. But Dan Lanning basically called out, he said they're in it for clicks. We're in it for wins.
What does that even mean? They're in it for kicks.
And by the way, for Oregon to say that, fuck you, Dan Lanning. Now,
they have a different jersey every game.
Yeah, they're wearing all these different. Yeah, they're putting billboards up all everywhere. Like they're totally a team that's in it for clicks. That's their whole MO over the past 30 years of that program.
You don't think Deion and Colorado's in it for wins?
Yeah, sure. And I think
a reminder that it was their win total was 3.5, and they're 3-1.
Yeah, exactly. Like to me, like, okay, yeah, Oregon's better than Colorado. I think none of us thought that Colorado would be better than Oregon this year. None of us. Now I'll say this, like Dion's comments were also like, I keep receipts. I heard what you said. And if you're going to get me now, because we're coming. And I believe that. I believe, like, you're lucky you're going to the Big Ten where you can beat up on Rutgers and some of those shitty teams.
Now, it will be interesting when USC comes to Boulder. That's next week, I believe.
Yes. And USC struggled against Arizona State, man. So
do we have the clip here?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Play this here.
Rooted in substance, not flash. Rooted in substance. Today, we talk with our pads. You talk with your helmet, right? Every moment. The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? There's a difference, right? This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood. It's going to be played on the grass, right? It's going to be played on the grass.
Big game.
Let's go.
Right? Yeah. But still, I mean, whatever. I mean, I got no problem with him talking shit, getting his team riled up. But at the same time, he talked shit in the offseason too, saying like Colorado's never mattered. Just so you know, Dan Lanning, Colorado has a national championship win. Oregon does not. All right. Let's move along. But yeah, I mean, look, Oregon, the Pac-12 is, let's talk about that for a second. It is by far, I don't think anybody can argue this. It is, to me, by far the best conference in college football.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that's probably 2 weeks ago, you were asking me, do you think the Pac-12 maybe belongs in the conversation as the best conference? I was like, whoa, pump the brakes. The SEC might have something to say about that. Well, fast forward 2 more weeks, and I think you got to rank Pac-12 first.
Dude,
down.
I mean, there's so many quality teams.
Right.
I feel like Washington looks like the best team in the country.
And then Wazoo and what they're doing, nobody really expected that. So it's just hilarious that this is the last year of the Pac-12, and it's probably the best conference in football.
Utah's dominating without their starting quarterbacks.
Right.
They're on their like 4th string quarterback, and they're undefeated. They've won against Florida, against Baylor, against UCLA. It's just a really good conference this year. Miami, Ohio beats the piss out of Delaware State. I didn't cover this by a half a point. Fuck you.
Go Hornets.
Yeah. Duke 41, UConn 7. Jim Moore, our boy, tough year. I don't think there's a bowl. I thought
how is his year 1 better than his year 2? That doesn't make any sense.
I think losing some of the key players like Nathan Carter transferring to Michigan State, the running back that was a workhorse for them. Also, maybe some of the defensive players. The schedule's a little bit harder, I think, this year. But yeah, obviously big issues there. Duke continues to look awesome. Utah 14, UCLA 7. That was one of my locks. I actually had to put this a little more than I thought.
That was a double lock.
Yeah.
Triple lock.
Yeah, triple lock, I think. Utah's legit. They head to Corvallis on Friday, and I think that's a tough spot. Cam Rising, that's gonna be Rising's first start, I bet. I don't know how much I like it.
I like Chief in the chat says, "What's the spread on you guys leaving Laramie on horses?"
Yeah, I'd say minus 200. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about Utah, but I think it's pretty remarkable that they held UCLA's offense to 7 points. They never lose at Rice Eccles.
Exactly. It's not that difficult, folks.
Yeah, and folks, I'll have you know that Colorado will also get their ass kicked at Rice Eccles this year.
Yeah.
It's a very easy handicap. When you have that awesome of a college environment, it's like LSU. There's like, to me, like, it's like the whiteout. I shouldn't have took Iowa, because like you have these awesome environments where it's very hard to go and get a win. If anything, I think Penn State, even though they have the whiteouts, hasn't been as good at home as Oregon and Utah over the years.
Well, the difference was Utah was laying 4 and Penn State was laying 14.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we all thought, well, you might have mentioned Iowa money line.
I did.
I didn't know if that was realistic, but I was on the point, so I was wrong on that game.
I thought Iowa's defense would be able to give Penn State's offense some problems, and I was wrong. I ate shit on that. Penn State deserves all the credit. They have one of the best
Penn State
resumes.
looks pretty good.
Yeah, they have one of the best resumes thus far. Iowa State 34, Oklahoma State 27. Oklahoma State, I don't know if they're hitting that over, man.
How about Rocco Brecht throwing for 348 and 3 touchdowns?
That's Anthony Beck's son.
Maybe they found their quarterback, and Oklahoma State looks awful right now because they don't have a quarterback. And usually I thought the defense would be better. And I didn't think these two teams would put up over 60 points. I thought this was going to be a game in the teens. So I took the points with Oklahoma State, was wrong, didn't feel good about it, but I certainly don't feel good about Oklahoma State in that over either.
Yeah. Iowa State gets the Sooners. They feel like Matt Campbell always plays them tough. That's this upcoming week. Rice in South Florida. Rice loses to South Florida. I was shocked there.
I mean, South Florida just hung with Bama and
showing signs of life.
Yeah.
UTSA gets destroyed by Tennessee. GBO Farms can rejoice because Eddie Lee Marlborough was not the guy we thought he was. Central Michigan, South Alabama. This was one of the shockers of the day. And this is what I mean by the MAC. The MAC playing some good ball. That's a huge win, man. That is a huge win for the Chips. They needed that. I think Jim McElwain needed that. What a huge win there. And yeah, I just think moving forward, watch out for the Chips. Eastern Michigan, I did eat a bag of shit with Eastern Michigan and Jacksonville State.
I don't think you liked it though, right?
I did.
Oh, did you?
On the morning show.
Yeah.
I bet it. And Jacksonville State and Rich Rod. How about Jacksonville State? I took the over on them. That's going to hit.
Yeah. I think it was at like 4 or something, right?
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think 4.5. Yeah, that's going to hit. He's a damn good coach. And yeah, East Carolina should look into it. All right. And speaking of East Carolina, 44 nothing. I will flex. All right.
You're gonna flex about
Gardner Webb.
Webb.
FCS playoff team a year ago. Let's go.
Well, you're at Rice next, so don't flex too much.
It's gonna be a fun one. Georgia Tech, Wake Forest. We knew this game smelled. We knew this fucking line smelled. Georgia Tech 30, Wake Forest 16. What's going on with Wake? They were down 17 at half,
Yeah.
both the last 2 games.
I was on the Yellow Jackets here because I thought the line did stink, and I think Brent Key is a pretty good coach, and I think his players play hard for him. But let's put it this way: Brent Key is better than Brent Pry.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Ooh, I like
Is
this.
that controversial?
No, but for real money Kramer, it might be.
I don't think so. I think he knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Liberty 38, the Airport 6. The Flamin' Libs can
Rolling.
continue to they're going to go undefeated, I think, dude.
They have an easy schedule.
I know, really easy schedule. Arkansas 31, LSU 34. Let's talk about this because as LSU, I kind of thought LSU was a national title contender after 4 weeks of college football. I don't think they can. I think they're going to get bit in. They play at Ole Miss next week. If they play like they did against Arkansas, they're going to lose that game to Ole Miss.
Yeah, and so there's 2 back-to-back road trips at Ole Miss and at Mizzou next. Yes, if they don't step their game up, they're going to lose at least one of those.
Or A&M,
Sure,
they're
later
going
on.
to lose to somebody. 34-31 win. Florida did not cover the 28. If anything, this was like a 19-7 game for like a lot against the Biff Poggi and the fighting Clits. Florida's questionable too, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're very good either.
Yeah.
Just because they beat Tennessee, that was a spot that we saw coming as well. You would have liked them to take that momentum from the big win and just play better against a very inferior opponent. Now they still got the W, so you move on, and but still, I don't think they're a good team.
And what's crazy is there's opportunity in the SEC East. Like, could they beat South Carolina? Could they beat Missouri? Could they beat Kentucky?
Sure.
Yeah.
Those teams, I mean,
everyone but Georgia,
Kentucky's
right?
probably the best one out of those.
I think
guess
Mizzou might be.
Mizzou's still
I think
undefeated,
Mizzou,
right?
yeah. I think Mizzou's got a better resume than Kentucky.
Yeah, nobody's talking about them, but they haven't been overly impressive against the likes of Middle Tennessee State or against the likes of Memphis.
Yeah. How about the Texas State Bobcats down 17-0 to the Nevada Wolfpack? They score 35 unanswered before Nevada adds a late score. Dude, with South Alabama losing their second game this year, is Texas State the best team in the Sun Belt West?
I still say South Alabama, and those were 2 non-con games, right?
Yeah.
It was, Tulane, and then just the one now
Yeah.
against Central Michigan. So Texas State is definitely ahead of schedule for sure.
Way
Kinney
ahead
doing
of
a-
schedule.
Yeah,
He
doing a
needs to
great
be like
job.
coach of the year. I know everyone will say Dion, but I think GJ Kinney should be considered.
But I don't think they're the top of the Sun Belt West right now.
Yeah. But Southern Miss, I ate shit on this one, is Arkansas State. What the hell?
They're struggling.
How do you give up 44 points to Arkansas State?
This was a 1-point game last year too. That Southern Miss squeaked away with the win. So for some reason, Arkansas State plays them tough.
Unbelievable. Arizona 21, Stanford 20. The Wildcats survive.
I took the points there. I don't know. Arizona's a kind of a funny team. Yeah, certain games their offense looks really good. Still don't have much of a defense.
I think they're
don't
at
think.
USC next week. No, they're not. USC's at Colorado. I think the week after. Their offense will be able to put up points, I think, though. But,
Yeah.
something to monitor there. They survived. That would have been a really bad loss. Colorado State, we locked up them.
There we go.
We locked up them. I think Colorado State's still the contender in the Mountain West.
I don't know. Fresno, Air Force, Boise,
Wyoming.
They're certainly on a second tier. I don't think they're a contender. I think
think
they
they're
can
a
still
contender.
carve out a pretty nice year 2 under Norvell. And maybe they're looking forward to year 3, especially if Fowler Nicosi, the new quarterback, can
Yeah, they
continue to get
finally
better.
found their guy. Yeah. Big win there in Murfreesboro by 8. Tulane beat the piss out of Nichols. Houston, nice win for the used car salesman Dana Holgerson.
Yeah.
38-7. Wyoming gets it done against App. Now let's talk about this one. Washington State 38, Oregon
Ooh.
State 35.
You called this one.
Yeah, I've been super impressed with Washington State. Even though Jake Dickert calling out Lee Corso. And I thought I got no problem with what Dickert said. Like I understand Corso's like
Joe Biden.
Well, yeah. And look, Dickert said like ESPN fed him those lines because he's that old. And he said it's no secret that that ESPN's been behind the demise of the Pac-12
Yeah.
by not offering these teams the money, but yet giving these teams all the money to join the Big 12, essentially, which is fair. But at the same time, I think he's right. You look at the ratings. I tweeted this out. John Wilner, who writes for the San Jose Mercury, who handles a lot of the TV rating stuff, Wazoo does draw better numbers TV-wise than the 4 schools jumping to the Big 12 over the past decade. And he's got an argument. And why shit on this game? This game was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think both these teams are a lot better than what people think. And I think that they could, like, right now, call me crazy. Like, if Washington State's lining up against, some of these big bad teams, if you told me Washington State's playing Bama, I think Washington State can win that game.
Cam Ward is playing excellent football. And how can you not root for the Coug?
He hasn't even, I don't think he's turned the ball over yet, man. This guy, he's really fucking good. 38-35. Yeah, you got to love this story, guys. Washington State. And remember, Washington State does not play. They do not play USC or Utah. So huge win there by the Cougs. Texas 38. Oh, what do you got the what's going on here? Student section got relegated. G5 student. I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know. You're pulling up something there on the interwebs there. Noah Beanick behind the scenes. Oh, he's got the Jake Dickert. Here we go. Here's Jake Dickert. I'm not getting the audio on that. Anyway, shout out to Washington State. Great win there. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. But Texas 38, Baylor 6. NC Nick, does Texas have the best resume thus far this season?
I think Texas is up there. I think there's probably a handful of teams, maybe Penn State. Who else are we forgetting?
I would say I think Texas probably has the best resume so far.
Yeah, I mean, the win at Alabama is probably Ohio State probably belongs in that conversation too.
Yeah.
They're the best win right now. What is it, at Alabama or at Notre Dame?
No, I would say at Notre Dame because Notre Dame looks better than Alabama to me. But the thing is that Ohio State's other games are not like, who? Western Kentucky lost to Troy yesterday. Right. Who'd they get in the opener? Indiana should have lost to Akron. I kind of think Texas's resume is a little bit better. So,
well, Penn State comes into Columbus in a few weeks here, so that's going to be a heck of a
Penn
game.
State's got a good resume.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
got a very good resume. You add West Virginia's 3-1 record. You mix that with the fact that Illinois, I guess,
That's their best
2-2.
road. That's their best
Yeah.
road win, though, and that's not that great of a win.
True. But I'm just saying they got in 3 Power 5 wins. Not many schools have 3 Power 5 wins. But Texas looking really good, 38-6, as Baylor loses another one. And Minnesota, Northwestern. This game was batshit crazy. I think Northwestern came back from down, 24 points, or 21 points. Northwestern gets the win in overtime. How bad is the Big Ten West?
I was about to say more bad Big Ten West football teams. Minnesota's trash.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. The top of the Big Ten is good. Penn State, Michigan doesn't play anybody, but Michigan's good. Ohio State's really good. So we have that, but I don't even know that I'm buying in on Maryland. There's a lot of trash in the Big Ten. Like the whole West. Maybe Iowa's decent, but I don't buy into Wisconsin being good. I think Purdue's terrible. I don't think Illinois is good. I think Minnesota's terrible. I think Northwestern's pretty shitty. I think you have some. You add that to Michigan State and Indiana, you have some teams that are really kind of that conference has got a lot of shit
For sure.
Yeah. So huge win though for Northwestern, and you got to wonder about Fleck. If Michigan State's going to hire Fleck, I don't think it's going to happen now. Georgia 49, UAB 21. This game's terrible. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about Ohio State Notre Dame. This game absolutely insane. 17-14, Ohio State wins on the final play of the game. Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman. You got to wonder. I know Marcus Freeman. Everyone says good-looking guy. He's always photogenic. How the fuck do you have? How the fuck do you? I mean, everyone likes him.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a very likable guy.
Yeah. Okay.
He
seems cool, right?
Yeah.
He's got the cool factor.
Yeah. I mean, I like Marcus Freeman, but how do you fuck up with 10 guys on the field, both final plays of the game?
One play's bad enough, but not to realize that the second play, and maybe it's not necessarily his fault. I mean, ultimately, it always comes down to the head coach.
Yeah.
But someone up in the booth, the other players around him, did they not have a timeout where they could call that? It's just unacceptable to do it 2 plays in a row and lose the game because of it. Ohio State taking advantage of it and running right where that other defensive lineman should have been. Unbelievable.
There's so many fails on those 2 plays from a coaching standpoint, from a player standpoint. How the fuck do you not notice the guy next to you not there? There's so many fails on that, and I think it's got. Look, I know it's hard from the sidelines, like Chris Peterson said, but at the same time, I mean, you're the head coach, you're the face of the fucking program. You got to take that one.
Yep.
Now we had the under on Notre Dame at 9.5 wins, and I thought we were going to get fucked by this. Now I think we have life. With this loss,
they still lose 2 more times?
I mean, I don't know that they definitely will, but we have
Clemson,
life.
Duke,
USC,
Louisville, USC.
Yeah, they could certainly lose 2 more times. But I mean, what a brutal loss. And Ryan Day calling out Lou Holtz. I mean, I get it. Lou Holtz called him out on saying not being a physical team, and he said. Ryan Day said, with the exception of one half, I would argue that Ryan Day, yes, you have been a very good program, but at the same time, in those 2 games against Michigan, I would argue Michigan was way more physical than you. And that's why you lost those games.
I almost feel like Lou Holtz and Lee Corso are too easy of targets to come after. But at the same time, they're the ones that said something against those 2 programs, respectively, first.
Yeah, and Alabama, too. You're right. Bama, when they played them in the Natty, Bama was way more physical than them. And I feel like that's an accurate knock. And Ryan Day was like, it's us against the world. I love my team. Let's be honest. You have the fucking top 2 or 3 most talented team
us
in
against
America.
The world.
The fuck out of here.
This is a motivationing thing he's using to get his team up. So you can't.
I would do it too. It's like Dan Lanning's comments. You're going to do that. You can't knock it too much. But at the same time, I don't think everyone's saying all these bad things. What are we saying? What the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Ohio State's a national contender every fucking year.
Right.
All right. Anyway, but good win for Ohio State, and can we play this one? Will this one work?
Coach, you knew this one wasn't going to be easy, but it came down to the wire. And what can you say about the performance from your quarterback, Kyle McCord, to finish that drive?
Toughness. toughness. That's it. Physicality, across the board, finish it off, having guts. You know, like I like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world. And it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we get a tough team.
What did they prove to you tonight in this victory that you'll take away and run with?
Toughness. So everybody's questioning these kids all the time. We had one bad half the last couple years. That's it. Everybody wants to question these guys. These guys are warriors right here to come back and win. This kid right here to come back in the second half and win. I'm emotional about this for a reason. A lot of people question these kids and say a lot of things about them. I love them. When someone attacks your family to come in and win like this is special.
I mean, look,
that is the most emotion he's shown, I think. So,
Yeah.
You know, I kind of like it, I guess. You know, certainly not an Ohio State fan, but he's never seemed to be that emotional. So maybe he's just, you know, there's a spot where they came back and won where, you know, it looked it looked like they weren't going to get the victory. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone, you know, Ohio State from like a recruiting composite, if we pay attention to that, is like one of the teams that should be winning a national championship every,
Right.
like, you know.
I mean,
so,
he said some silly stuff,
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
but well, you know, in the heat of the moment, you know, whatever.
Yeah, like I don't have an issue with it, but I'm
No,
just
me
saying,
neither.
like, in the heat of the moment, you just win a big game on the road. You might just say, everyone's been doubting us. I was like, I don't know that anyone's really been doubting
Yeah.
you. Like, if you had told me, you know, back in August, could Ohio State win the national championship? I'd be like, yeah,
Sure.
they can. So anyway, shout out to that though. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. Indiana beats Akron in overtime, 29-27. Tom Allen can exhale. All right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the MAC once again
Yeah.
showing up. Louisiana beats Buffalo. The MAC sucked here, but Buffalo did storm back to make this a close game. And Missouri, Memphis. I know Charles is a Mizzou fan. 34-27. I think this was a push. I got Memphis at 7, but hey, Missouri didn't fuck this up. I thought they would. And lose.
It could have been a letdown spot after the big Kansas State win. So they got the W and they keep on rolling down the schedule.
Remember, I locked up the over. I got a questionable tweet. Remember saying that
I thought when we did the Mizzou preview, I was on the over and you were on the
No.
under. Yeah.
No, because remember someone tweeted that was last year. But this past year I took the over. I locked it up on Mizzou, and someone tweeted saying Patty C and NC Nick was talking sense into me because it must have been hammered for taking Mizzou on the over. Now they're still not there. But I feel because you just didn't lock it, right?
I didn't lock it, but I think I took the over on Mizzou.
Yeah. You know, I don't know how good Memphis really is, but I mean, it's still a good win.
Sure.
You know, so like shout out to Brady Cooks, ended up playing through for 341. Luther Burden 10 for 177.
Wow, baller.
Now the question is I mean, I made this argument: is Mizzou the second best team in the SEC East? They play at Vanderbilt this next week. They're going to be sitting there. You know, if they don't fuck that up, 5-0 before they host LSU on October 7th.
It's a huge game all of a sudden.
That is.
And if you go back to our preseason,
we both called for
Mizzou
it.
to actually win that. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and Luther Burden is a beast. You're right. He's arguably the best receiver in the nation. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. and stuff, but I think he's in that mix for best wideout in the country. Shout out to Mizzou. Also, South Carolina, they covered for me against Mississippi State. Got that dub. Penn State beats Iowa, shuts them out. I mean, we talked about Penn State a little bit. I don't know if you want to key in on that anymore. They to me should be
to dominate them
top
like
5.
that. Yeah, to dominate them like that, just a great game. The defense is playing really good. I mean, Iowa always struggles offensively, but to put up 31 and just to shut them out, it's a great win.
Then you have James Madison, Utah State. Can we give some respect? JMU just won 3 straight road games.
Woo.
At Virginia, at Troy, and at Utah State.
Not easy. I mean, the first one's an easy road game.
Yeah.
At UVA, right down the road. But then to go into Troy and into Utah State, great wins for a team only in their second year in the FBS, and JMU's looking really good.
Super impressive. Super impressive. Shout out to the Dukes of JMU. North Carolina also. I took Pitt plus 7.5. I ate shit here.
Locked up UNC. Playing with the
There you
music.
go. There you go. Getting it done. Tar Heels looking for real. Mac Brown and his nanner pudding looking for real. I'm fascinated by North Carolina. They had a tougher schedule than I think. But even if Minnesota and Pitt aren't as good as we thought. Now, North Carolina's got a bye week before they host Syracuse. They're going to be 5-0, I think, buddy. Shout out to Mac Brown and Drake May. Could they be contenders for the CFP? UCF, Kansas State. We did lock up Kansas State. 44-31, getting it done in the Little Apple.
I don't care who's playing quarterback. They're not going to lose 2 games in a row. The second one.
K-State's a really good team. Really good team. So I also locked up UNLV. The easy one. Minus 2 points at UTEP. They win by 17.
I should have thought of that. UTEP's trash.
Yeah, UTEP's trash. UNLV hosts Hawaii this week. I locked up the under on UNLV at 6 wins. Right? They're 3-1. They're 3-1 here. It's going to be interesting to watch. If they get Hawaii, it'll be 4-1.
I think that's one of our favorite plays.
Yeah. I still think, though, to get to 7, it's going to be hard, but
agreed.
Maybe a push could be in play.
Stealing that Vandy game was key for them.
Yeah. Cal, Washington. Washington scores 59 points. This game, okay, first off, fuck you, college football. I thought Sam Jackson was starting for Cal. Now, I will be honest, maybe they wouldn't have covered it with Sam Jackson. But when you look at it, it's not like the cover was that far out of reach. It was an 8-point difference. Can Sam Jackson make up 8 points? Regardless, Washington they had 45 points at halftime. They were on
good
place.
Cal D.
They should be ranked number 1. I mean, I guess Texas's resume is better.
Yeah.
But the way Washington has beat the fuck out of every team.
That offense just looks unstoppable. Obviously, they took their foot off the gas in the second half. But, man, I can't wait for the big games. The Washington, the USC, Washington, Wazoo, Washington, Oregon. There's going to be some great Pac-12 football coming up.
I mean, that was a super impressive performance. Super impressive fucking performance. And look, if you look at Washington's resume, I know it's not it doesn't have the at Alabama win or something, but every team is 500. It's not like they're playing squares, you know what I mean? So 59-32. I ate shit on taking Cal plus 21 points.
Same here.
Fresno State 53, Kent State 10. Jeff Tedford, the most underrated coach in America. And then USC, Arizona State. Oh man. The Trojans, this was a 35-28 game in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes left. USC scores a touchdown, though, wins by 14, but I think Colorado's going to be able to move that ball on that defense.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't think USC's going to have too many issues in Boulder, but I do think if you're looking at comparing USC to Washington or to Wazoo or to Oregon State or to Oregon, Washington looks better than USC. I'd say Washington State has a better resume than USC.
Yeah,
Oregon,
they look better, too. They just look better when you watch them. So, I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Final game, New Mexico State, Hawaii. New Mexico State blows a 17-7 lead. A nice Timmy Chang onside kick call in this game. Hawaii gets the win 20-17. Awesome game. And all right.
Hell of a week.
Yeah, hell of a week. I guess to me, if I had to do, and I'll do the database top 25 starting next week, but to me, the best resume is probably Texas right now. But
hate to say it,
the most impressive team. Well, but Texas struggled with Wyoming. They struggled some with Rice.
Yeah.
And we don't know how good Alabama is.
Right.
We know, I mean, they'll still be a winning team, and that's a win on the road against a winning team. But I think the way Washington is beating the shit out of everybody.
If I was to do a top 5 in no particular order, but it would be Washington, Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, and Florida State.
Maybe. I mean, Washington State, I think, deserves to be in that mix because I think
playing
Wisconsin and Oregon State, and then even Colorado State 2-2, right? They're 2-1 actually. Colorado State's got a winning record because they had a bye week 2. Is a better resume than some of those other resumes. But
we might catch flack for not including Georgia in there, but they haven't beat anybody.
Georgia and Michigan should not be in the top 5 because if you play fucking nobody,
right?
I mean, Georgia beat South Carolina. That's actually better than Michigan's best win. But
right now, ultimately, at the end of the year, is Georgia, Michigan going to be in the top 5? That's a pretty good chance, sure.
Yeah.
But until right now, until you go out and play a tough opponent, then no, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, folks, we're in Laramie. We're gonna go enjoy the fucking town. Might hop on over to Cheyenne.
Might go to a rodeo.
Yeah, there you go, folks. Give us a follow. We'll be back with the bombs. Bombs Down Under episode Tuesday. We're traveling tomorrow, so we won't have it out on Monday like we normally do. And from there we'll have Week 5 preview and picks Wednesday night, followed by DFS show Thursday, FCS as well. And we got you covered here on the College Football Experience. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store, Google Play Store, and come talk college football with us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. And don't forget college basketball conference preview starting this week, as Noah doing good work there, reminded me there. So it's all happening. All right. And shout out to Garrett. He goes, I expected to be wearing cowboy hats for the next episode. Let's go. All right, folks. Until next time, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.